all those countries.
Hello, hello. This is the Real Stuff Show.
We're back.
We are back, guys. The Real Stuff Show, the real show, the best show, the amazing show about real estate in Florida and why not in the United States very soon, guys. It's amazing to be here. I'm Augusto Alagia, your anchor, your captain, the captain of the show.
Captain.
And I have here today our featured guest. It's amazing girl, Bridget O'Donnell.
Hi,
Yes.
guys. How are you?
And on my side, my host,
The sidekick.
Jay Granieri,
And that is a
the pickleball agent.
Not a psychic.
My main kick.
Man kick. I like that. I like that.
A little less like Robin.
Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really
Hey.
appreciate it.
You made it. The hot seat.
Yeah, despite all the rain that's going on in our rainy season right now, I did make it.
That's right.
Are you feeling being in the spotlight right now on live for everyone to see you?
Hi, guys. Put me on the spot.
Oh, she knows how to speak with the camera, right? Oh my gosh.
The world. Meet Bridget. Bridget, meet the world.
Probably this is not their first time in the television, right?
It's my first time being live, other than on like maybe my own personal social media. But I do go in front of the camera a lot. I do a lot of video and digital marketing.
Nice.
So I'm a little bit practiced.
We only have one rule, Bridget. The Real Stuff Show. There's no BS and no fluff. So you got to be real. Bring
I
it.
think I can do that.
Gotta bring
Yeah,
it.
no fake stuff.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
It's very interesting, guys. Today, Bridget's very, very interesting story. We're gonna bring her story, and it's very interesting because she has a different approach in terms of how to get into the real estate. So it's gonna be good tips. I really love it. 5 years more or less, right? That you're in the real estate.
Yeah, just a little over 5 years now.
Yeah, she came from New York, and we're gonna go deep a little bit in her story. But she came from New York. She loves marketing. She loves to expose herself, and she's very happy to be collaborating of some marketing with her here, right, Bridget?
Yes, I would say so.
That's great. So, guys, we start with news. So
we're
we start.
we're gonna kick it right off.
But I have something a little bit different today.
Oh, okay.
Let's see if it's gonna work. Okay.
All right, Bridget. So, so
I will bring my friend
what do we got over here?
Chat GPT.
Oh.
Look at you.
I don't know if it's gonna work,
We're
but let's say, ChatGPT, what are the hottest news about real estate in Florida?
Does my name come after that?
I don't know. Let's see.
X out news,
Right?
but real
Let's see.
estate agent.
Pickleball sex agent. I don't know. Let's see.
Does it pop me up? I don't know.
Let's see. Let's see. Oh my gosh, ChatGPT.
Oh.
So does this mean the robots are not coming to take our jobs then?
These sources
Oh,
will
not
provide
yet.
you
I'm
with
so sorry, guys.
Okay, I don't have a real estate.
Oh,
Wah, wah.
on to 2021. But
What is the hottest news?
because Bridget is here today, we're gonna talk about Donald Trump versus Ron DeSantis.
We better watch the chat.
Everyone's favorite Floridians.
I don't know if we're gonna lose subscribers or gain subscribers.
I was in this show today, like the immigrant boss, and we were discussing exactly this. It was kind of a little polemic.
It's gotta play.
And I love it. But before this, let's bring this news here.
What do we got?
What do we got? Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. So much publicity, guys. You have to pay me for all this advertising.
Right.
So,
Ooh, who we got here? Oh.
Bridget, please read your own news and talk to us about this.
What interest rate hikes mean for South Florida home prices? I think especially this week, this is definitely something that's a little bit relevant with the incoming negotiations going on with the debt ceiling here in the U.S. We did see that interest rates are now just above 7%. And that's a little bit of a precaution that comes whenever we have this discussion about the debt ceiling.
What it means is that my poor friend here, Augusto, cannot buy anymore in the houses, right?
Damn it. Cancel the
I
contract.
don't know if my salary is going to allow me to
Cancel the
buy anything.
contract.
Yeah.
So what it means, 7%? Because before all this craziness from Biden, we were with Trump were 3%.
We were much lower.
we were down in the twos even at some points and everything.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We
So
were down
in general, the real estate agent, they love Trump and they hate Biden because of this.
I don't know. Is it inflation? Is it Biden? What is it, Bridget?
I mean, it's a little bit of everything, right? I mean, going through the pandemic, a lot of it came down to the fact that the Fed they said we need to stimulate the economy, and by reducing rates, and we saw what that did. It created this monster surge in the real estate industry all over the place, because 2%, that's nothing when it comes to borrowing money.
So let me ask you a question though. Like, so when you're working with your buyers,
yes,
right, are they turned off? Are they accepting this as a new norm? Or are they feeling like the government's sticking it to them and made, to slow down inflation? They're making it harder for them to do something that's really a necessity, which is living and buying a home.
I think it really depends on the particular buyer. I would say that my percentage of contracts is kind of similar to what South Florida is overall, which is about 44% of my deals are cash, which is about what the average cash amount of deals was last year. Mm-hmm. So some of my buyers are definitely affected by it when it's above 50%. Some of them are, of course, they've said that they're going to try and wait it out, or they try to time things perfectly, or they've talked to some of my great lenders about what their options are. But I have seen that a lot of buyers have accepted it as the new norm when it's in the sixes. Yeah. And part of that is because sellers are becoming a little bit more negotiable.
Right.
So rather than putting down an arm and a leg and waiving the appraisal, naming your firstborn child after the seller, and giving them a 60-day post-occupancy where they can live in the house rent-free, they're saying, hey, I want the property to appraise, and I want to make sure that I'm able to get insurance on this property, and it passes what's called a 4-point. And in return, they're able to kind of bite the bullet and get a rate in the sixes.
So a little more negotiation.
A little bit more negotiation. It's a little give and take in that regard.
But you feel like, for sure you feel that the transactions have been slowing down a lot, right? Or not?
Definitely. Everyone in town, transactions have slowed. But surprisingly, this quarter, compared to the fourth quarter of 2022, the inventory actually went down this quarter. Mm-hmm.
But went down because people is not showing up and not putting it for sale, or
no? It's
because people are buying. Because
people are buying. Oh. I think to a degree also sellers have started to accept the new norm of it's not climbing that much anymore. And I think that there's this good medium between sellers who are getting good prices still. And then on top of it, I think some of the inventory has dropped, because if you bought a house a couple of years ago and you got in that low interest rate in the 2%, now you're locked in. You almost are kind of locked in whether you like the house or not, because you're not going to be able to get that interest rate again.
I follow a lot of people that try to follow the markets and stuff, and they're telling that there is not the bottom yet in terms of pricing, real estate pricing. Do you agree or disagree? Do you think the pricing is going to still go down or not?
I think we're definitely seeing a slowdown. We're still getting a lot of record high pricing in certain niches. But I don't think we're at what I would consider a bottom at all.
Yeah, I think the houses that are, done well, or even the new construction, because it's so rare right now to find, a property that you can level and build a brand new house. So there's still a low inventory for new construction homes, and there's a huge demand out there for that right now too. So those homes are getting record sales still.
For the new construction?
Yeah, dry lot homes.
I would say anything that's considered A and B tier, there's a lot of low inventory on. Yeah. And by A tier, I mean what everyone thinks of when they think of South Florida, which is those blue waters, and a house that is really plug and play, turnkey. Yeah. You don't really have to do much to it. And then B tier, as in still prime location and a very well done house, but dry lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I have cash, should I buy or should I wait?
Buy.
Yeah.
Guys, this is really not biased, guys. I don't know why.
I thought this was the real stuff show, Jay.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, is there ever a bad time to buy in Florida? Honestly, let's just be serious here.
Look, if the choice is, do I rent or do I buy? I think it's buy all day long. Yeah. I think right now the rent prices are really high.
Last I checked, they're not making more beachfront.
But in terms of I'm investor.
Hey, the only exception for that is Las Olas Marina. They're taking out 3 acres of land.
I don't know. But the point is, if I'm an investor, eventually, should I wait or should I buy?
That depends on what you're doing with the property, I think.
It also depends on the property, especially from an investor standpoint. Yeah. I mean, right now, when you start to really dive down what investors look at, if you're trying to prioritize something like a cap rate, which is your yield, your take home, that is a really hard thing to find a high cap rate right now. But if that's not important to you, if it's important to you that
But
you have
for an investor, it's going to be, of course, important for him.
exactly. I mean, for an investor, that's going to be the most important.
And we've seen a
And
huge
can you explain for our intelligent audience what's the cap rate?
Well, that's what Bridget just said. What it was.
So
it's the return on investment.
It's your return on investment. So once you look at what your purchase price is minus all of your operating expenses and your total all in, what percentage are you getting back?
Your net revenue.
So
Yeah,
what was before the pandemic and what is now?
So
compare.
I mean,
in average, right?
I would say before the pandemic, a lot of people, their ideal was to be a 7%, like was a typical good one. You could get it. You had to search the market and maybe crunch your numbers, but you could get it, and even higher in some instances with the more money that you would spend. So there would be
only to translate for you guys, you have a $500,000 home, you invest $100,000 into the home, you're gonna get $7,000 as a cap rate for the year, right? Am I right?
Roughly.
roughly.
Okay. Is the percentage over what you invested?
And if you look at
not what you leverage yourself,
right? And obviously,
it would be your total all in. So if you bought that house cash, and let's say you had, let's just say you had a 10%, your annual would be 50.
Yeah. So it is a lot harder to have a good cap rate if you put like 100% cash, right? Because it will pressure your percentage wise, correct?
The more expenses you have,
right,
obviously diminish your cap.
I think that's why
we're gonna pay a little bit less mortgage, of course, or no mortgage. But at the end of the day, you're gonna pressure.
Then you're not liquid.
Your expectations in terms of return. You know,
Correct.
if you put like $1 million you're expecting for the $1 million, like $70,000 in terms of return.
Correct.
For the month.
Correct.
And if you put only $100,000, you are paying your mortgage, your cap rate was gonna be a good expectation for you to get $7,000.
Yeah.
Right?
So right now, I would say a lot of things they're under 6%. There's nothing really that enticing for a lot of commercial investors out there right now. Don't get me wrong. There's always a deal looming somewhere to be had. Someone has to sell at some point. But when you're talking about the majority of the market, they're looming in the fives.
Guys, I really don't know. I'm going to tell my feelings. And I'm the dumbest guy in the room. I'm the dumbest guy in the room here.
We don't sell on feelings.
In terms of real estate or even in terms of anything else. But the question is really looking from outside and not being biased as a realtor, because I'm not a realtor. I'm not going to invest, Jay. I'm sorry. Try to convince me, man.
I'm gonna work on you right now. What's your impression? Let me hear it.
I don't know, man. I think for example, I have friends that they flip, and all of them say, "Man, I'm not doing any flip right now. It's impossible for me to take this risk right now."
Well, that's because the selling market right now is asking for such a high dollar amount that the money that they would have to invest in that property and then to get the return plus the holding cost.
Because before,
and the cost of construction is
because a flipping guy, they count on the guys that's gonna get mortgage to buy their homes.
Yeah.
So you put all those guys outside of the market, and you have right now the cash buyers. Yeah. Which is eventually for you that deals with $10 million home. These guys have $10 million home.
Well, listen.
$10 million home in their bank account. $10 million in their bank account, but I don't have. I count on banks, and to count on banks is too much.
Personally, Bridget, and tell me if you agree with this or not. Like, certain markets are better for certain types of buying strategies. So, for example, we live in sort of a vacation bubble down here. So, from an investment standpoint, I do think that it is a great time to buy something for an investment property if you're looking for short-term rental or Airbnb type stuff, right? Because that's where you're going to get the higher cap rate yield. Yeah. We're a vacation rentals place. It's this 365 days year round. You're going to make money on a property. It's hard to lose. And then the intrinsic appreciation value. Typically in the past, it was 3 to 5%. We saw gains of double digits over the last couple of years. But let's just go back to that 3 to 5% gains. Plus, you write off depreciation, things you put into the property, things like that as well too. So there's a lot of reasons why it's still a good market in South Florida to buy for investment properties for that vehicle. But for a fix and flip, I don't think so. Like my buddies up in Jacksonville right now, crushing it, doing 20 properties, a quarter. They're buying houses for tax lien deeds and things like that for like $200,000, putting about $30,000 into it and selling it for, in a volume standpoint, selling it for like $50,000 per per property, but they're doing 10, 15 of these properties a quarter. That's where you want to be if you want to fix and flip.
So coming back to this, and it's very interesting how politics can get inside of the industry and completely change the landscape. Okay, I would like to see from you what you think it's the realtors that is disappearing, that is struggling, and the realtors that is thriving, because probably there is some portion of the market that have been pressured out, and some portion of the market to get highlighted and thrive. What are you going to be your takeaway about that?
Good, Bridge.
So
this is a smart question, Jay.
I feel like there's like this is like a little bit of a roundabout way. It's like more like let's jumping onto this topic of conversation than ask the question. But
I promise not to just say what she said.
I mean, I think what you're getting at is right now we're in this kind of a market where it's a little bit of a sink or swim. Is that right? Is that what you mean?
So, for example, let me give you an example. For example, eventually, it's going to be extremely difficult to sell a single family home for people that need to get a mortgage, right? So those realtors that they specialize on this, you understand? So it's going to be pushed out of the market, or they're going to be struggling right now. And probably because of this high interest rate, there is some opportunity for other type of realtors. Let me give an example. I'm pretty sure that if you are a realtor that works with hedge funds or private funds to buy cash house, remodel them and wait, probably these guys are making a lot of money right now.
Well, I can say that there's also a lot of, I don't know if you're familiar with wholesalers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wholesalers that they're really the ones who are getting those houses. It's not a lot of don't get me wrong, there's definitely hedge funds out there, but it's a lot of wholesalers, and it's trading a lot of hands before it ever makes its way onto the regular market for what you see on the MLS or on Zillow or any of the other websites that are really out there. So someone will buy the house for $250,000 out from under somebody who just wants to sell, and then somebody sells to somebody who maybe wants to flip, and the guy who wants to flip says, you know what, I really don't want to do this house. So then they end up maybe giving it to a realtor or selling it to somebody else. And sooner or later, when somebody says, I'm going to list it, I'm really going to list it, and they come in the market and what they bought for $200,000 when they come to the market is really $500,000, and it still needs all this work. It's very hard to find anything below $500,000 east of 95 in the greater Fort Lauderdale area right now.
And I'll tell you, that affects a lot of other things too. Now, you think about like the real estate time on market of old school. You take a listing. Typically, what's the statistic? 96%, 94% of homes are all sold by realtors, right?
Yeah.
So very small amount of homes were sold by first sale by owner, and typically not successful. But when we would list a property, even on a healthy market in the past, we would have these homes that still would sit, and it was considered healthy to be on the market for a month, 2 months before really we would find the right buyer for the seller. Now, what did that mean? That gave us the ability to market this property, i.e. market ourselves in the area that we're having this listing. Also gave, if you have a team of realtors, the ability to run open houses to meet potential buyers or potential other listings in the area that they might be able to get. In today's market, if you can get the listing in the neighborhood, which there's a very short supply of these listings happening, a lot of times you already have the buyer begging and waiting to find this house in this neighborhood. So you're immediately, before you probably even putting it on the market, already have the property sold. So it cuts out all of the potential other business that you could have gotten in the past market. In today's market that we're in right now, we're talking about short supply of inventory. Yeah. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So what you're telling me is like the guys that's more specialized or have relationships to acquire the listings, they are the guys that's thriving.
The transactions are happening faster, and the opportunity to market yourself is getting shorter. So getting a listing in the past was an ability to market yourself as a expert in the community. Things are happening so fast today. Like by the time you get the listing, you're already the first weekend you get a line of people outside trying to buy the house, and then unfortunately that house is going to be, and it's not unfortunate, it's great for you.
It's a good problem.
It's a good problem, but it's also a bad it's a bad outcome in a sense for longevity of the business.
But this is the way that I thought the market was before. Like before, it was really, you have a house, hundreds of people pay yourself, crazy money.
Yeah.
right now I thought it was a little bit different.
It is a little different. I think that the sellers are still, I think it's still overpricing a little bit. And unfortunately, like the houses that tend to come on the market now are ones that, as you put it, certain classes, a B class, an A class, maybe a C class. So they're pricing a C class at an A price, a B class, you know, at an A.
Yeah, there's some sellers out there who reality still hasn't sunk in yet, or they're like, well, I don't have to sell, but I kind of want to sell. So until I'm really ready, I'll list it, and I'll list it for a really high price. If someone's willing to pay me that price, then maybe I'll sell.
Yeah. Okay. So let's rephrase my question, and on to close this topic is, if you could decide to have an expertise into a real estate, right? Because there is different type of realtors with different expertise. In a market that is high interest rates, what would be your expertise or your niche? Please do not say the same. So Bridget, go first. What will be your expertise in a high interest rate market?
Well, I think that's something that it's the reality of what we're kind of looming around right now. And I do a lot of cash deals along the beach and co-ops and condo hotels. Okay. And those by nature are things that tend to have higher interest rates and sometimes are not financeable, at least not through conventional methods.
Yeah. So that's a great example. Co-ops, they were never...
it's rare to get financing.
It's really rare. So if you were already in this market, it's something that's turning anyways.
Yeah, that and
people understand they have to pay per cash anyways.
Yeah.
So people that's looking for this type of deals, they don't need the financing. Right.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. And your answer? Do not be the same. Do not copy her.
So, you know, the other answer would be, I think the obvious answer is focus more on listings. So in an area where there is a little bit more.
But what do you mean by this in terms of expertise?
Well, because the expertise is that I'll be focusing more on becoming a listing agent.
Instead of a buyer's
agent, because the buyer's agents are obviously affected by interest rates. Listing agents.
What I knew is some interviews that I've done with realtors, no one likes to be the buyer's agent. Too much time, too much struggle. It's always better to be the listing agent.
Yeah, I think it is
different strategies.
It is different strategies. You're using different parts of your brain and different tactics.
Yeah.
But I think when you're a good listing agent, and I would say Jay and I have shown each other's listings and we used to work together. Jay is what I would consider a good listing agent. A good listing agent knows what their weak points are. And in a high interest rate market, your weak point is going to be what is the realistic mortgage payment of this buyer and who can actually afford that.
Yeah.
And Jay has great contacts with mortgage people. So do I. And so do a lot of other agents in town. So you could reverse engineer the listing.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Good answer. If I could specialize myself, probably I would specialize myself into the private funds that have a lot of cash.
Yeah.
To buy very cheap houses.
Oh, yeah.
So that's an easy answer. You know?
No, but don't buy stuff.
I'd find myself somebody who's an investor with BlackRock and buy up everything in South Florida.
Who would be your ideal person to marry? Someone rich.
Someone rich who's nice and gorgeous.
And have a lot of cash.
A lot of cash.
Okay, my friends. So now is our sponsor moment with Vanilla Jay Granieri, pickleball agent.
What's up? What do we got here? So we, here on The Real Stuff, none of this would happen if we weren't taken care of by our industrious sponsor, the Captain Painter. This guy over here. So Augusto has really spent a lot of years and time in this community developing the Captain Painters, making it a household name and a household brand. As you probably know, if you haven't painted your home in at least about 5 years, it's probably time. You got to put some maintenance into your own property, and I recommend this guy right here, the Captain Painters. One of the great things about them is that they guarantee their work before they charge you. So put them to the test and give them a call.
That's great. The CaptainPainter.com guys, call us. Great service. We don't pay until your final walkthrough. There's of course some disclosures about this, but it's going to be an amazing experience. I'm going to love to have you as my client, because eventually, if I become a realtor in the future, I'm going to have you as my client as well.
Add him to the list. Add him to the list.
I'm scared for my job security.
I know, right? We're teaching him all our secrets.
It's the whole point of him running this podcast.
This is what it is. This is what it is.
Yeah.
He's just stealing. That's all it is.
No, guys. Of course, I'm a collaboration guy. I'm never gonna.
That means you're just gonna split the commissions with us then, right?
Right.
Why not? Yeah.
So, are we going to go into a little bit more about Bridget? Because I have a history with Bridget.
Yeah.
And I want to hear maybe some questions that we have directed to.
And that's the segment right now.
Yeah.
I have another news, but we took so much for this news that we're gonna jump directly for your story.
Let's hear
Bridget.
it.
So tell me a little bit about background back in New York and a little bit your young age coming back and forth, when you were a kid with your parents. Tell us a little bit more about this.
As just for reference, I am 25, and as a little kid, my parents were kind of snowbirds. They would come down, vacation in Lauderdale by the Sea, go out of Port Everglades on the cruises, and my brother, sister, and I would tag along, of course. And Lauderdale by the Sea was somewhere that my extended family had a lot of memories and a heart for. It's this little village just in the north of Fort Lauderdale, south of Pompano Beach, where they have a major height restriction. So everything is short and quaint, and they have a pier. It's very picturesque. And eventually, in my high school, they bought a condo and told us one day that, dad's retired, mom's retired a lot earlier than expected, and we're going to move down to Florida. And it was like we came down for a 1-week vacation. They just kind of told us one day. So
they were like in New York. So you were living in New York. Exactly where?
On Long Island.
Long Island, okay.
Yeah.
And they were cops back then, right?
They were, yeah. So both of my parents were police officers. My mom was the DARE officer.
Wow.
So she used to do like the beat, and then she would come to the schools and give the DARE program talks.
Say no to drugs.
Yes, say no to drugs. And my dad.
It's a unsafe place there, like New York.
No. Where I grew up was very. I love where I grew up.
They had high-end drugs. It's just very expensive area.
So what do you mean high-end drugs?
If you ever listened to Billy Joel's from Long Island, that's all you need to know about Long Island is that it's halfway between the Hamptons and the city. It's a really hardworking area, but I grew up with all my extended family being within blocks of me. So I grew up in a very picturesque and lucky time in my life where I grew up with 16 cousins, and we grew up just as close as brothers and sisters.
Were you destined to follow mom and dad, or did you kind of break away from the nest?
I'm sorry?
Were you destined to follow mom and dad's track record in law enforcement, or did you break away from the nest?
So, I always knew that I was a little bit more social and a bit of a butterfly. And my dad was in white collar police. So he actually was in charge of the equivalent of what SWAT is. He was in charge of BSO. So
I'm sorry, what is a BSO?
BSO is the same thing as SWAT.
Okay.
So it's like a special tactical thing. And I kind of...
What focusing on special type of crimes?
Yeah, the SWAT team, where they have the battering ram that goes down the door, and
the strong guys, they go there.
Yeah, they have they're very strategic. They do the rappelling, down buildings and stuff like that. He was in charge of all that for Nassau County.
Oh,
so
wow. Interesting.
Yeah, a really cool job to have. Very cool to grow up around all of that.
You never had a boyfriend, obviously.
No.
I'll receive your boyfriend at home.
He's the type that he was
going down in rappel like this. He was I want to meet you right now.
He was the type that would come if I tried to bring a guy home, he would probably be cleaning a gun or something very of the movies. Yes. But they were fantastic, and I got exposed to a lot of different cultures. My mom would take us anywhere and everywhere. Growing up so close to the city, we would go in and be exposed to everything. And we would do the road trip down here. So we stopped in so many cities. And I feel really blessed that I was able to be exposed to so many different kinds of cultures. And background here in the U.S., I've been to almost every state in the continental U.S., which is really cool.
So how did you get you came down here for vacations and you got sold on this lifestyle down here, but what planted the seed or the bug to get into real estate?
So my parents had bought a condo down here, and then I ended up finishing high school down here and going on to college. I worked 2 jobs through high school and college, and one of them was for a coffee shop. I managed a chain chain of coffee stores. And eventually which was owned, one of the partners was a commercial broker. And I would constantly, unrelentingly pick this guy's brain anytime he was in the store. So I'd be like, hey there, so let me ask you about real estate. And I'm young, I'm in the end of my high school and early college, he kind of just was more than willing to tell me, like any real estate agent.
By the time you were planning to still go to college, right?
Yes, and I did go to college. I went to FAU, and I ended up taking over the marketing position for this coffee chain and doing VIP customer management. And we even I got a contract for the Breakers Hotel, and we even did the donuts for Sofia Vergara's wedding. And we also did some other really high profile events. And I used to do the customer relations and the marketing. So we
shout out to the Owls.
Yeah, we're owling.
Owling, baby.
And this type of work and in the path that you were like getting into were a little bit different from your other members of your family, like your sister, twin sister, your brother, right? You kind of a little bit a black sheep by the time.
A little bit,
your father or mother didn't kind of accept it.
So I told my sister is now an engineer for GM, and my brother, I can now talk about this, just came out of the Marines, and he was on Marine One.
Wow.
Really? I mean, but very like straight-laced, 9 to 5, the kind of jobs.
For how long he was there?
He was stationed there for a couple of years.
What year was this? Under Biden or under Trump administration?
Both. Yeah. So he was stationed.
Who he does prefer?
He's like so unbiased. Like he doesn't. I know, right? So
who is the more likable person?
I kind of tried to ask him, and he was like, "I don't talk about that." I was like,
they are the same.
Well, you know what? I think it's so cool, and so I've been to the White House, like as a kid. It's so cool, no matter who it is, just to be able to serve that kind of position. I think it is. I think more than anything, he was just honored to be there. It's just having a good time being there and serving such a remarkable job.
So you got these very A personality type, very by the book, follow the course, and follow a certain path. Whereas I was going to college, and I just kind of turned around one day to my parents, and I was like, so I enrolled in a real estate school, and I'm going to do this. And my dad was kind of like, all those years I studied, I'm going to go for a commission-only based job.
Yeah. And, and for them, like both of my parents came from immigrant families, of Irish immigrants. So
that's cool. So can bring you to the immigrant boss.
So my grandfather came here with like a motorcycle and a toolbox. So he made something of himself with very little education, and he ended up like becoming the head union leader for the carpentry industry in the entire state of New York. Wow. So for me, there's always been that you can sometimes make your own path, but I think that the rest of my family does follow things in a similar way that's non-commission based, where you have that salary, that guaranteed pay. And when I told my mom specifically that I wanted to go into this, she was very against it. But now she's my absolute biggest cheerleader.
So it was more difficult to convince your mother than your father?
Definitely.
Yeah?
I think because I was a little bit more like my father in personality, and he thought it was pretty cool, and he knew a few agents that had made money in real estate, and I think he was like, okay, well, you know what? She's at least going into this with a plan. I said, if I can't make money in 6 months, I promise I'll go back to school.
Well, that's interesting, because like when you've been in the industry for a few years now, but you're still fairly young.
Yeah.
And it seems like you have a really tight relationship with your parents. In the very beginning stages, when I knew you back at Coldwell Banker, did you find that there were times that, really challenged you in sort of the beginning stages? And where did you fall back on your parents for advice? How did you kind of proceed forward?
So I was very lucky to have a really good network between my parents, and my aunt moved down here right as I was getting started. So I helped her move down here. I actually found both of her places for her. And I have the most supportive boyfriend I could ever ask for in the world. He is my rock. He really is. And he's also an entrepreneur. So I think that to a big degree, he was super influential on why I also got into this industry, because he's been able to say, it's okay, I've got you. If there's ever anything that happens, I'll help you out. And as an entrepreneur and he's also now in business consultation, he's been able to step in and give me a lot of really good advice that helps me to dig deep and work on my business.
So you were there before you started real estate. So
yes.
you were together.
Yeah.
He was together.
Yes. Yeah. We were
your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in real estate now?
I've been in for 5.5 years.
So if you're listening,
Damon.
5 years, Damon, that I don't see a ring on her finger. No pressure.
Oh, yeah. I promise I didn't put these guys up to this.
you better lock this one down.
Yeah, I agree.
I was doing the math there.
And they show, guys, they show have a great audience, a lot of tigers out there. That's gonna see
successful girl here making things happen.
Anyways, have you ever doubted yourself?
Absolutely. I think that it's normal in this kind of an industry as a young person to sometimes look at yourself in the middle of the night or the middle of a transaction and just go, am I doing this right? Is this the right move? Am I doing the best by my customer? Am I doing the best for my business, anything and everything? And I think it's healthy to doubt yourself. I think if you are always headstrong and you think you're always 100% correct, it starts to loom on dangerous ground.
Yeah.
When do you have any time? Because it's very interesting. Because if you are an entrepreneur, and I found that more and more that the realtors, you are entrepreneurs because you have to be in that position, right? So as an entrepreneur, sometimes a lot of times you say, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna, abandon everything. I'm gonna work for someone else." Have you ever had the time that you say that we're at the point of get out of real estate and come back to the working for other people, stuff like that?
I think maybe my first couple months I was a little intimidated by the job because I had a little bit more self-doubt where I was thinking to myself, is this the right move? Am I doing the right thing? But I think that's really natural during your first few months. But once I got my first sale, I've never looked back, and I've never woken up thinking that I ever want to have any other job in this world. I'm very cliche in the way that I say I really love what I do, and there's nothing else I'd rather do when I wake up in the morning.
God,
and you enjoy it. There's a question.
No, I was thinking this morning that I should be getting out of real estate.
Oh, yeah?
Maybe starting a painting company.
Why not? You jump directly to real estate, or you transition from another job? And
I was
little by little
sales guy all my life, and
But when you went to real estate to stop everything, you was more full time?
I jumped right in. I was fortunate enough to have a mentor that was my buddy that wanted to start a team, and so I was kind of team member number one. So I had a mentor,
okay.
And but I burned the boat. So I didn't have anywhere.
I love that. I always love that phrase.
Yeah. So I didn't have anywhere to go. And at the time, everybody has their own different things that motivate them. I think I was motivated out of fear. I had one kid that was just born, one girl, a 3-year-old daughter, a mortgage, a dog. I'm like, I didn't have much options.
Yeah.
Now I always could fall back on saying that. I think one thing about real estate is that you're not stuck. Yeah. We do this, and if you find that you don't do well at this, or it's not right, you've gained a lot of great experience, a lot of great sales experience. You can go do anything. I think, honestly, when I had this conversation today, when I was just saying this earlier today in our break room, I interviewed an intern about this, and he was just, I was just listening to his whole story. And, Bridget and I have a lot of history together. I remember meeting her when she was a young agent, and a lot of the similar qualities. They're hungry, they're students of the business. And I was just talking to them about, getting into this business and what it's all about and what it's like. And honestly, there is a character, I think, trait amongst everybody that kind of gets in this business is that, you just got to be hungry. You got to go after, you got to really understand how to go after it. But, we're not robots. We're normal people too.
But I see different characteristics. Hungry for you probably works for you. I don't think for Bridget was a little bit the same that it was for you, because she has her back a little bit with her friend, right? So you were enjoying, you were getting to. Of course, everybody's hungry. Everybody wants to make more money, right? But there's a little bit some different characteristics. I don't see the same characteristic, for example, in Summer that I see in Linda. It's a lot easier path for her, right?
Yeah.
And for Bridget, I think that's why I'm asking you if you really struggle, because it feels that you flow into you flow into the smoothly into the real estate, right?
I'm really glad that you think that. Yeah. I think by doing that, it's definitely the perception that I hope to put out, but it's not necessarily how I feel on the inside. And I think it's important for real estate agents who are either new or in the middle of a lull to hear that and understand that it's natural to, even if other people don't recognize that there's a struggle going on, it doesn't mean that there's not. And I definitely dug deep, and I hold myself to a really high standard. Sometimes I think I should maybe give myself a little bit of a break, but I hold myself to a high standard, and I raise it every single year because I expect more.
Yeah, one of people that are in this seat, that we interview, they all come from different places, right?
Yes.
So, Bridget, you came out of college. I
didn't finish. I said I'll take a semester off.
That's okay. And you didn't have another career that was making you buku bucks, right?
Correct.
So Bridget and I were, if you think about it, and we're very close in age, but our start point was very similar in a sense. She had a responsibility to survive, and so did I. Right? We're just two different age positions and two different responsibilities that we had to take care of. But she didn't have a backup bank account of that she mastered over a course of 10 years, and then it allowed her the luxury to just sort of float into real estate. And we have interviewed people that was like that, where they had another career before and they made money, and then they kind of got into real estate, and they weren't in survival mode, right?
Yeah, there's different types of struggles, right? So again, if I have a kid, it's a little bit a different level.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more scary when you have to provide to a kid. If you are single and if you have a boyfriend and stuff, I know that's a little bit different. Everyone approach differently. And I would like to say, but something that you mentioned to me, that you get to the coffee shop, and the coffee shop was like a little bit a turning point for you, because you could explore a little bit more the marketing that you like, and you apply in the real estate, and you start having the first approach with a realtor in the commercial real estate, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a big stepping stone for me in my book of life. That chapter was really, really cool, and I got thrown a lot of opportunities that I don't think a lot of small businesses would always throw. So I'm more than grateful. I got a lot of VIP customer experience by dealing with the breakers and other custom orders. I got to see a lot of the Tri-County because I managed all of their stores, and I worked with a lot of affiliate companies that they supplied for. It was a really cool job. I am so thankful for it.
And she jumped into this, and she mentioned that she's a hard worker. You know what's a hard worker, Jay?
I'm pretty.
Yeah. How many hours per week is a hard worker for you, Jay? 10, 20?
I played pickleball this morning. And, I'm here today.
He answered an email.
If you actually knew how many,
she mentioned to me 60 hours.
I was working until 1 o'clock in the morning putting deals together.
Probably when you join real estate with a kid, probably we're doing 60 hours a week, right?
I'm on phone all day. I do deals in my sleep. Come on.
And you got to different levels of management, right? And you become probably one of the most important person into the coffee shop. Correct?
I would say second to the owner. Yeah. I got under my management, we got an award for Sun Sentinel for the best coffee shop. I got recognized as the top social media account and the top 5 to follow in Boca for the company. We were against a lot of competition to supply for the Breakers Hotel. So by being able to get our foot in the door and kind of have that brand presence, and really being Johnny on the spot with a lot of things, which included our website and our marketing and our personalities as a team, it held a lot of weight.
How have you used that model for making that Breakers, business so successful? How have you used that model into your real estate business?
Well, I think that a lot of it really showed me how that the person who attends Breakers is and what they're used to and what kind of a caliber of a service you have to deliver. So I think more than anything, it was very service oriented, which the real estate industry as a career, it is. Yeah. You're working for somebody else. You're working for yourself, but you are working for a customer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's great. Good answer.
That's amazing. And let's fast forward a little bit, and then you get into real estate. And you mentioned something to me that was very interesting. I would like to explore this a little bit. You mentioned to me, and then I start interviewing brokers to see what's fitting my...
This was a bizarre concept to you. So I was explaining to Augusto that I interviewed several brokerages and brokers. And he said, wait, hold on. Isn't it the other way around that the brokers interview you? And for anybody who's a new real estate agent out there and they just got their license, or if you're thinking of switching brokerages, anything like that, you got to remember, you're the one who makes the money. The broker, you have to hire the broker. They work for you. You're giving them the cut of your commission. So it's really important that whoever you hire as your broker, they're there to support you. They're going to treat you the way you want to be treated, and anyone else in the brokerage that you're interacting with is someone that you want to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have self-esteem, right? So believe in yourself and interview correctly. Get the best broker for you.
Well,
and here
really
I have some brokers,
offer.
right? So great brokers here.
Well, you started out
yes,
at Coldwell Banker.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for starting at Coldwell Banker.
I am too.
And I think they offered a lot of education. And I think that's really important as a new agent because, I mean, I knew how many square feet were in an acre and that's about it, right? That's realistically, when you get your real estate license, that's what's on the book, what the state says you need to know. That's not the actual business. That you don't know how to write a contract. You don't know what the common practices are. You don't know what you don't know. So you should start off somewhere where someone's going to show you the ropes, because when you sign up to become a realtor, not just a licensed real estate person, you agree to protect the public.
Yeah.
And you mentioned some criteria that took you for like selecting the brokers, right?
Yeah. As a new agent, my top criteria was culture. So I wanted a brokerage where people liked to work there, both the admin and the agents, and they had good morale. It was also important to me that they had education because, again, I knew I didn't know what I needed to know. And third was that there was an office, and preferably with foot traffic. I am what I call an office rat. I love it. I love to be in the office.
Yeah, you were at the office a lot.
Explain to me more or less the models. You know, I was talking to Bridget, and again, I'm learning, guys. So, and probably if you're new in the industry, you also don't know everything about this. But what I could figure out is like there's different models when you are interviewing your broker. I don't know if the brokers are gonna love too much the show today.
They're all about to start coming for me and saying, "Hold on. You can't be telling everybody this, Bridget."
Breaking code.
So when you're interviewing a broker, there's some models. I thought that there's some models that the broker do not get any cut, but you have to pay some fees, right, to take advantage of the material, the brands and stuff. So it's going to be a fixed fee or by usage, whatever it is. There is some others that will be, a small cut, not too much support, and you have to run by your own. There's others that takes a little bit more, a bigger cut, but gives you a lot. And there's some that are going to give you leads. I don't know. There is some brokers that will give leads to the new guys.
And there's also some brokerages that won't really allow you to come into the brokerage unless you're sort of hitting a certain threshold.
Wow, Jay is inverting a little bit the interview concept here.
I was even telling you there's some brokerages that they have it that if you want to take a listing, that it might be a mandatory minimum threshold for the listing. So it might be $1 million plus only brokerage. So that means if your mom wants to sell her $700,000 house, you can't sell it for her.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're a new guy, what would be the right approach in terms of finding a broker for you? Well,
so I think that it can be a little bit different for everybody.
Sure.
Especially if if you already know who you want to join, maybe you know someone who's in the industry and you're going to shadow under them for a while. But I think no matter the model, you need to go somewhere where they're going to look out for your best interest, where someone's going to catch you if you're making a misstep on your first few contracts, and they're going to set you up for success in the world. That's the ultimate best thing that you should be looking for, is that they have your best interest at heart.
You think it's a mentorship?
I mean, mentorship or education as a greater whole from you have the Keller Williams and Coldwell Bankers of the world, who they have both. They offer mentorship, but they offer also overall arching classes, and even the board offers classes.
Yeah, they sell their education more, I think, versus the thriving business model that maybe a more of a high volume brokerage might offer.
For you, Jay, that now looking back, that when you join your first team, what mistake you think you made in terms of your selection or interviewing, or what you could do a little bit better by the time as a young broker, as a newbie into the real estate?
You know, I mean, I don't know if it was necessarily a mistake. I think that the things that we're talking about here, maybe asking some more questions just to kind of get some more background. But I interviewed at a couple other brokerages before I ultimately selected Coldwell Banker, and I selected them for exactly the same reasons that we were agreeing upon, which was education, and a little bit of culture. And ultimately it's just a feeling, right? It's just like anything else, like a relationship that you had. But every brokerage that I went, I started at Coldwell Banker, eventually made a move to Compass, and now I'm at One Sotheby's. And for every decision that I made, it had to fit kind of where I was at in my career and kind of where I wanted to grow towards, right? So I know that Bridget's at Level, and Level has a very unique opportunity for agents to experience both the residential side and the commercial side, and that might be a very appealing thing for Bridget to jump into. Yeah.
So overall, Level is a Fort Lauderdale based company. But we cover the Tri-County area, and we're on the newer side. My partner, David Martyr, who's the co-owner of the company, and the other co-owner, Josh, started it in January of 2020, the ideal time to start a business, especially in the real estate world, right before everything's shut down. And they designed it to be half residential, half commercial, and it's a really cool place to work at. It's a boutique brokerage overall, I would say, if you're trying to categorize what type of business model it is, where a lot of the agents that we bring in have been in the industry for years. We've got some people that have some weight and are coming with a book of business. Actually, one of our old colleagues also shared together. We have a few old colleagues shared together that are over at Level Realty, and they're doing the resi commercial game.
That's cool. Yeah.
And what make like someone that have a book of business to join? Like your because if it's a boutique, what type of support? I think it's that's important for someone that already have experience, already have a book of jobs, and all that.
Well, so for us, I would say that we don't necessarily offer the same kind of education platform that something like a Coldwell Banker or Keller Williams does, and that's just because we're smaller, we're newer. You know, it's not something that our business model is designed around. But I have taken on a mentorship role personally for a couple of agents who have started thriving. But the reason why we have brought on and why someone like myself jumped at Level or would jump at another boutique brokerage is a lot of it has to do with the culture. The culture at Coldwell Banker did start to change when Compass came into the market. I mean, you know, Jay was on one of the first teams to leave for Compass. And I remember that the saying was, it's like coming off of the tri-rail and jumping onto the right line. I thought that was the best line ever. But I jumped over because my partner, David, had sent me an Instagram message and said, I don't know how else to reach out to you. My name is David Martyr. I used to work for Related ISG and Coldwell Banker before that. And I really want to work with you. At the very least, I want to meet you. And that we met, and this is bad negotiation practice, and I never do this, but I told him in the room, I was like, if you were starting a team at Coldwell Banker, I'd join you today. And it took him months to end up getting me over because I was so scared. I really was. And you have to step out of your comfort zone to make those big decisions in business. But 100%. My dad had just passed away, and you know, it was the pandemic restrictions were just starting to lift, and it was a very weird time overall, like in the market, in my life, and in the industry. So I finally bit the bullet, and I'm so glad I did. The culture at my brokerage is amazing. We have a really cool office location, and I was able to really step into my own and start really seeing a different side of the business. So more than anything, although it's not the same kind of education on like Contract 101, I've gotten to see different sides of the business that I didn't even know were there, that now I don't know if I would call myself an expert in, but I've been called by other brokers in town for advice in certain niche markets.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you feel, that's also a question that comes back here. What do you feel that is the characteristics of a successful realtor in the industry? Of course, there's a lot of differences, a lot of markets, but what do you feel is the common characteristics of a successful realtor?
I think someone who really likes the job and close to eats, sleeps, and breathes it, someone who feels passionate about the work they do, you can't wake up and just say, ugh, I got to go sell real estate today. You have to really like the job. You don't have to say to every person you like the job, but you have to feel that in your heart of hearts. You have to be a hard worker. You have to be pounding the pavement one way or another. You have to know your market. I find that a lot of real estate agents here in Fort Lauderdale, they know all the coolest spots. They know the best spots for lunch, the best spots for Wi-Fi, the best views, the best walking trails. And you could be talking to someone on the water taxi and they're telling you all these different things in Fort Lauderdale. And then you have to stop them and say, are you a real estate agent? Because I am too, and I know all these places.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're not really selling a house, you're selling the lifestyle. And I think that the house is just the byproduct of what we do. But whether, when you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent, they really want to know, like, why this house, what's going on in the area, what's the school systems, why do I want to move from out of town in this area versus, another city. So, it's easy to find a house. It's not easy to sell somebody on why to buy the house.
Yeah.
So,
And there's a passion too. And what I see is a lot of lifestyle. I just mentioned this. People, they know this, they know that, so they get passion to this. And we have a hidden passion, which is the boating, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about this. How you discover it? How do you apply this here? And what is the opportunities for people to buy in Fort Lauderdale and get a boat?
So growing up on Long Island, I grew up minutes from the water. So I was really lucky being able to do that. And then, of course, coming down to Fort Lauderdale and all the cruises and everything, I was always by the waterways. But with my boyfriend was a super avid boater. He's very into it. And recently I bought my own boat. So I have a 31-foot contender with some brand new twin Suzukis on it. And if the name on my boat, I don't think I told you this, is Real Broke, because I'm putting all my money towards my boat.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Good for you, Bridget.
I love my boat. And to live down here in the Fort Lauderdale area, boating is definitely an intricate part of the lifestyle here. I tend to drop my boat at George English Park on Sunrise and the Middle River, and I take it out and I cruise the Intercoastal. And it's the same amount of time to leave Port Everglades and get to the Bahamas as it is to leave Fort Lauderdale by car and get to Orlando.
That's so cool.
It's so just cool. As close. We've taken the boat down to the Keys. I have a lot of friends that we've taken their boats all the way around. Right now, my boat is being worked on. So if my boyfriend's not listening to the podcast right now, he's more than likely working on my boat right now as we speak.
So cool. I'm an inspiring boat.
But you got me. Like, I came to her and say, hey, this is my dream to have a little bit this lifestyle, blah, 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 with my kids. And she got me good advice about like renting. You make a club, right?
So there's boat clubs. So if you're someone who's considering moving to the Fort Lauderdale area, or if you already live in the Fort Lauderdale area or anywhere coastal for that matter, you can join what's called a boat club. There's several different clubs, but that are popular in the area, but a lot of them drop at a marina, and you can pay a monthly fee and have a certain amount of usage for a boat. They're usually small center and dual console boats. You take a safety course and you take it out. They take care of the fuel. They take care of the cleanup afterwards. It's so plug and play. It's awesome. And if you're utilizing all of the hours on the boat that you're paying for every month, then I think it's a good time to start considering, well, maybe I should get a boat, because as my boat's name connotates, it's very expensive.
Do you like boats, Jay? Have you ever had a boat?
It's on my wish board, but I do not have a boat. I grew up in the Midwest, so when I moved down to Florida, I didn't really have the background and the upbringing of a boater. So I just kind of...
Yeah, I feel a little scary to get a boat and start driving the boat.
Yeah.
But
I want a boat, though. I mean, I really want to go on a boat with me?
That's true. Why not?
The boat club is a perfect way to get started. Let's join the boat club
together, man. Half and half.
It might be a birthday gift.
Well, and and they do have a safety course, and everything. It will make you feel a lot more comfortable on the boat.
At least for the first year, and then try it out to see and then get a little bit more.
And then you go to Fort Lauderdale Boat Show, the biggest boat show in the world, and cut a deal with one of the brokers.
It is on my dream board. I said I am going to be a boat owner in the next 2 years, so it's going to happen. It's not an if, it's a when.
Okay, my guys, sorry to cut you. We're going to come back very soon with the golden nuggets of knowledge with Bridget. She's going to talk to you about CRMs and how to use it correctly, because I'm pretty sure that you don't use it correctly. I don't know. Jay, do you use a CRM correctly?
I'm not even sure what that means.
But before we do this, sponsorship, Jay, sponsorship.
Man, I mean, how much can we say that how we appreciate the support that the Captain Painter offers the Real Stuff show? You know, when I was a young man trying to make it in this business, I was out there just struggling, and it's through the financial support that the Captain Painter provides that all of this is possible. And it's only possible by the fact that if you use him to help his business as well. So support the Captain Painter, and therefore he will support the Real Stuff show and continue to deliver this great news and messages for the real estate industry. Thank you, buddy.
And guys, this is legit, okay? Jay, use us
I
for his clients.
legitimately use him. I promise that. He's painted my house.
And in general, like you get all 5-star reviews, okay?
Yes.
If you check us, we'll have like almost 500 5-star reviews, correct, Jay?
It's great.
And one of the reviews is for this guy.
They treat your house like a temple.
Like a temple. So thecaptainpainter.com, guys. Join us. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great to do your painting job for your clients if you're a realtor as well. Oh, and let me tell you this. We just got a loyalty program for realtors. I need to announce this a little bit more.
Yeah, what's up?
And it's cash to your pocket.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah.
What?
Or marketing collaboration as well.
I like that.
Yeah, so we have some presentations to do in the future. So if you are a realtor, if you're interested in a loyalty program with trades, we have it. So you can get some cash. You can get featuring marketing stuff. So it's going to be very cool. So it's going to be love to present to you.
Give and receive.
Yeah, come to us and contact me, and we can go over this. But now the golden nuggets of knowledge by Bridget O'Donnell. Let's go it. So here I am, guys. So I did this little slide here. Let me open this.
So when you're in training, Augusto, let me teach you something about CRMs here, because I do know about CRMs.
You know? I know a lot about
so it's the old cliche about what is the best type of CRM.
It's the one that you like.
It's the one that you use.
Yeah.
It's the one that you use. You're absolutely right, though, Augusto, how you set this up.
No, it's not me that set this up. It was Bridget.
Well, I'm saying most real estate agents do not utilize their CRM, and it's and our training was really heavily influenced by that.
Yeah, I think that when I moved to Level, I kind of had a little CRM, but I really wasn't utilizing it well. It was the one that was built into my old brokerage, and there wasn't a lot of things included in it. It was just like an address book. That's really about it. That's when it comes down to it. CRM, customer relation management is. It's a really smart address book. So in your CRM, you're able to do a few different things depending on what type of platform you're using, but a lot of them offer the same things. So if you're using Salesforce, if you're using your brokerage integrated one, because they've gotten a lot smarter over the past few years, if you're using LionDesk, Follow Up Boss, a lot of them do a different thing.
Specifically, what do you use?
I use Follow Up Boss. I really like Follow Up Boss. The way that I can manage our team on it is I like it. I find that I don't have.
And you use an integrated one, right?
Yeah. So we have one called App Files. So I'm sorry, ActivePipe that we use.
ActivePipe?
ActivePipe, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a Sotheby's.
It's a CRM.
It's a CRM in this.
Okay. But it's not proprietary for Sotheby's, right?
No,
anyone can get it.
No,
right?
we are working on having one proprietary made for us. But now we use one that's contracted out. Yeah.
That's cool. What's the name again?
ActivePipe.
ActivePipe. And what is yours?
Follow Up Boss.
Do you like yours soon, Jay?
Yeah. I mean, cool. I think the best CRMs are the ones that obviously provide you content, so it's easy, click and go. So if you want to create drip campaigns, which I think is the item number one there, yeah.
So the biggest thing, and I would say like one of the most important things that you can do to get started is to create a drip campaign. So however someone comes in, if you are at a networking event and someone hands you their business card, you should be putting them into your CRM, and that kind of goes to number 5. But then when they come in, set them up on a drip campaign. Hi, this is Bridget, Fort Lauderdale Realtor, and I just wanted to say hi. I made sure you had my contact information, and then a few days later, another email.
And something that I have. So we have our own strategies in our company as a painting company, and it's pretty similar, right? Every company, every business have to have a CRM. But something that I think is a big mistake of our company, sometimes people do not feed the CRM correctly, right? So
Yeah.
they don't put the tags, they don't put the
Yes.
good information, quality information for you
Yeah.
to create your campaigns, correct?
Yeah, I would say so. But I mean, that goes back to like utilizing tags, which is my tip number 2. Okay. So if there's someone who's coming in on a condo, if it's an attorney that you know, anything and everything, and by tags, you can put in smart tags, or a lot of them even have little, it's like almost like an Excel sheet. You can fill in a lot of different information. If it's somebody who owns, you know, the house next door to you in the neighborhood, put in their address. So that way, when you do call them, or if they ever call into your phone and and they say, "Hey, it's Jay," and I go, "Oh, Jay from Sotheby's, how are you? I remember showing your condo last week at Jackson Tower. You know, how you doing?" So tags are really important, and it works to your benefit, because if you get a listing that falls in similar parameters to what that person was looking for, or if it's in their same neighborhood, you're able to click anyone who's in that same tag. So any condo buyer and send them that listing separately.
That's good.
So what do you mean by create drip campaigns? So as soon as you put people into your CRM, you already create a drip campaign, right?
So I have a drip campaign is a preset email campaign where it's just like a little bit of email text that goes in. So it's an automatic email that goes out.
An automation that you set up,
Yeah,
right?
It's an automation. But the problem that I think a lot of realtors do is that they rely, when they are using the CRM, is they rely solely on the drip campaign, and they will kind of come, if I have like a new agent and they're saying, well, the lead hasn't answered. It's like, well, what do you mean? What, have you called them? Have you texted them? And well, I have them on the drip campaign. And I'm like, you have to call, you have to text them. So it's very important to create a drip campaign, but don't let that be the only contact that
there lies the downside of tech, right? Yeah. Is it takes out the personalization, unfortunately.
And people do not care anymore. So something that I tell my guys, very interesting, I say, contact your clients or your contacts. Contact them as much as they come to say, please do not contact me anymore, never more. Because if you bring this to me, I'm going to give you an award. I never saw it. I never saw someone complaining because they were so much solicited in my industry, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like I'm soliciting someone that didn't come to us. Mm-hmm. In general, people came to us, and then we have all this contact. I never saw anyone complaining that we connect with them too much.
Right.
You know, so I tell the guys, send a text message, contact them, and serve them. Of course, do not get crazy, right? But anyways,
yeah.
But if people fail on this, it's because they don't do enough, and it's not because they do too much.
Yeah,
right?
It's like when you guys had Jonathan Keith on and everything. His thing was, dial for dollars. It kind of comes back to that same thing. You have to be willing to really keep up. If someone was looking at a house and they came in, or they filled out something on your website and they came in, they're requesting, they're looking for that information. So yes, the drip campaign is one of the most helpful baselines that you can have in your CRM. Don't let that be your only, don't rest on your laurels. Don't let that be your only thing.
And then you have the number 3, which is stay persistent.
Yes, exactly. Same thing. Don't just call them once. Keep calling and texting. And I mean, how
many contact points we have to get someone considered as a client in general? What do you think?
Inman Magazine put out an article a few years ago that said that you have to reach out and have like a real connection with someone, not just an email, not just something in the dark. You have to actually make a real connection with someone at least 5 times for them to remember that you're a real estate agent.
Yeah. And we call them touch points. And it's more than just a CRM, as Bridget pointed out. It's texting, it's scheduling a coffee, it's a phone call, so it's a multiple things. It's a mailing piece maybe as well.
And then everybody knows that we have to invest at least 15% of our growth.
15% of your money.
Of your money into marketing, right? Sometimes 20, right?
I'd have overshot that.
And this is the coffees that you bring your clients to, correct?
That was the second beer that we were talking. So
how much money do you think in terms of investment in marketing is the right percentage-wise?
Well, so I really think it depends on every agent and what kind of business you're trying to go after, and where you're starting.
This is a great opportunity.
Do not be slippery,
but
get from me.
No, well, I do think it depends. I would say I think 15% sounds about right.
Yeah.
It really just depends on how effective that marketing is. If you're spending 15% on,
that's a great answer because I'm gonna get some money from Jay now because he owns.
But you know, this is great. I love that she's leading with these tips on CRMs, because a lot of agents that I train, they consistently complain, oh, I don't have the money to do this and money to that. This doesn't cost anything. This is usually provided to you by your broker.
It usually is. Yeah. I would say I err on the side of a little bit of caution that if you're using your brokerage's CRM, you got to know at the end of the day that they own that CRM.
Yeah.
So they own your contacts.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh yeah.
They have a copy of it. But you know what? Once again, no one's out there poaching.
But I would say this is.
So this is a matter of interviewing your broker.
They have I'm the type that I put everything on autopay. It's terrible.
Right.
But they have different graduations of a lot of these different CRMs.
Yeah.
So you could do a free trial usually for a certain amount of time on the different ones. I recommend doing it. I really do. To keep on top of your contacts.
Especially as a new agent. I mean,
especially as a new agent.
What is the biggest mistake people do, like the young agents does, like regarding the CRM? What do you think is the biggest mistake?
Not putting everyone in there or not following up. I mean, everyone has their own different, fail point. Everyone does. But I would say a lot of people, it's like, I'm not going to put this person, like you take the business card at the networking event and it's gone in the wind. Yeah. And you don't take the information really down and put it in your phone or in your CRM.
And I'll give you some real truth from myself is that, it took me a long time to get my CRM kind of cleaned up. And my biggest problem was the tagging. So I had hundreds of people that I would meet, all these different workshops and all these places I would go, and I'd grab all these cards and I have them put in, but then I would get lazy. I wouldn't say where I met you at or what category you're in. Are you a tradesperson? Are you another broker? So I have, a few hundred people on there and you just have names and emails. And I'm like,
the tags are so important.
Like that's where you get in trouble with CRMs is that, you go to e-blast something out, right? And you're just sending it out, blanket. So then you're getting people that are mad because they're getting stuff that's not relevant to them.
I see. Yeah. So don't personalize the content.
I think it's also really important because I feel like I get a lot of real estate agents that come into my CRM. I have a couple ways that they can come in, but don't sign up for other agents' websites first off. That's like a little bit of a blanket statement out there. But on top of it, the tags are really helpful because if you see that it says, Jay Granieri at onesotherbase.com or at curatedcollection.com, okay, I know that that's Jay. So I'm going to tag that as a real estate agent. So that way I don't keep chasing and this task doesn't keep coming up at the top and saying, remember to call Jay Granieri,
right?
Because he's not going to be a relevant person.
And it come down to the qualification of the context in your CRM.
Exactly. And so utilizing those tags is very important. And then you're able to keep in a lot of detailed notes, either through the tags and or through your notes.
Mm-hmm. Because we have to have a kind of a prioritization in terms of the actions you need to do about your context, right?
Yes.
So this is, you cannot, I have 2,000 contacts. I cannot approach them all the same way at the same time or with the same resources.
Yeah,
right?
Or someone might say, it might be a past customer or somebody who says, I'm out of state and I'll call you back when I'm back in, or I want to buy a year from now, or I want to paint my house 2 years from now, or you painted my next door neighbor and it looks so good and I'm just thinking about it, all those things. By keeping detailed notes, detailed tags, you're able to really keep on top of it so that when they do resurface, either through your tasks or through it being a tiny world, you're able to say, hey, I remember you. You're the guy that painted my next door neighbor's house. You're able to remember why you talked to them, why they were in your CRM in the first place, and what they were looking for. So like if someone's a mortgage buyer, condo buyer, waterfront, etc.
Yep.
That's amazing. Let's go to...
Good advice. What do we got?
Now, with you...
What do we got?
The battle of the listing.
My favorite part.
The final segment of our show today.
I've got a special treat today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, brand new
listing.
listing.
Great, man. That's great.
Not yet on the market. It's going to be this weekend.
I love me some off-market listings.
Right, that's just it.
Actually, I've got a couple people desperately looking, so I hope it's...
This is a condo. Anybody looking for condos?
I have a few people looking for
pretty view. Pretty view. Double water view.
Ooh.
Let me check it out here in my listings. So, Jay, do you want to start? Let's start by Jay.
I also have a duplex coming up as well too. That's off market right now. We're going to be listing soon too.
I'm really looking. I guess I can do a shameless real estate plug. I'm really looking for a 4-bedroom right now in the Coral Ridge, Sunrise, Intercoastal, Rio Vista, any of those kind of caliber neighborhoods.
Price point?
Up to about 2.8, maybe a little bit more.
Okay. You heard that? All our real estate agents out there, you got yourself a buyer's agent ready to go.
Ready, willing, and able buyer.
Just open here.
Yeah, buddy. You got it?
Okay, let's start.
So check this out. This is one of the
1 minute.
newest
Jay is so fast.
hot
man.
off the presses. I mean, this is not. This is
Let
so.
me see if
This is so new that I haven't even seen it yet. So you're seeing it.
Let's see if the internet will allow this.
I know, right? Right.
I love this building too.
It's great. It's a cool building. It's called.
Oh, that's great.
This is called the Corinthian. So the Corinthian is nestled right behind the Galleria Mall. It sits on the main Intercoastal Drive, and one of the greatest things about the Corinthian is its views. Its view looks over not only the main Intercoastal, but across the Bonnet House, which is a protected area of the Fort Lauderdale beachfront. Nothing will ever go there, and you will have these gorgeous, amazing ocean views accompanying the Intercoastal as well too. Corinthian, this particular unit, as you see here, it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. It's got a great balcony. As you can see, it looks right over the Bonnet House there, so you got beautiful ocean views. It's really nicely appointed as well too. So the floors have this really cool linen style texture to the tile. They're all tile floors. Some of the furniture can be sold with the unit. Check out that view. Look at there, looking right down to the marina across the way, and that is the beachfront off of Sunrise Boulevard, so sort of middle.
So that's why we'll prefer to get links from YouTube, Jay, next time. You know this.
But check out this panoramic kind of view here too. So I mean, you're just seeing the best of Fort Lauderdale all day long. As you kind of pan around through here, this is the kitchen area. It's been nicely updated, white cabinetry, really cool, countertop area, and a nice little area to sit there and have dinner as well too, with some views as well accompanied. Really, a lot of light and bright, airy spaces inside this unit as well. Good upgrades on the lighting.
You know that you are cheating a little bit, right? You're getting more time because of the buffer.
That's what it is. I got plenty of time to think about it.
Yes, okay, be thinking about it. I'm sorry, Bridget.
He's buffering just in the video.
It has laundry inside the unit, which is fantastic, and then it also has it's a dual-sided unit, so you have west views in the bedroom spaces. So this outlooks over to the to all of sort of Fort Lauderdale, and it also looks out to the downtown area as well too. And it's it's on the 20th floor, so you're going to get the skyline.
There's your boat, Bridget.
No, that's a dual console. That's not a contender.
That's a mini little boat compared to Bridget's boat. Just great rooftop pool area. It's got a gym as well too. It sits right next to some new construction, and you're walkable to the ocean, which is really, I think, what's the magic of living in Fort Lauderdale. If you have the best of all worlds, that's the
How many minutes to the ocean, Jay?
I mean, you're a 5-minute walk to the sand, so it's pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's the price point?
$790,000 can be yours. It's fantastic.
It's a steal.
It's a steal. It's a steal.
Oh my God.
And one of the coolest things about it too is, and not too many condo properties have, it's actually gate guarded as well too. So it's nice. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's got a lot of good
Lots
security.
of guest parking in that building
A
too.
ton of parking.
Hey, wait, why am I selling your listing?
I love that. Thank you so much, Bridget. That's great.
Okay. Bridget, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Hopefully, internet is going to work right now.
So welcome to Fort Lauderdale Beach. Right now, I have a listing in the W, considered a premium tier unit. If you haven't been to the W in Fort Lauderdale, it is the best of Central Beach living. It's right on the border of Central Beach and North Beach Village. This unit is 2 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Let me buffer a little bit for you, sure. Let me help you.
Oh, you're buffering?
Yeah. Let's keep talking about it. Go ahead.
So this is the W allows Airbnb, long-term, short-term, full-time living. It is the most flexible building for any kind of investment or living on the beach. They have these bright blue Italcraft kitchen cabinetry, quartz countertops. This particular unit comes turnkey, fully furnished with 2 built-in king beds, pull-out couch. Some of the amenities include an oceanside
like a
pool.
Is this on the residence side?
This is on the residence side, yes. This particular unit is considered the premium tier because it is a high floor south facing. So as soon as you open the door, you see the ocean. So this unit is always booked and busy. It's got sun, sand, sunset, sunrise, skyline. All the S's are in the view.
Now, if I have residency here, Bridget, does that mean that I can homestead, or what does that mean?
If you are living here full time, yes, you can absolutely homestead this property. Unlike other condo hotels on the beach that have restrictions of how long you can stay here, this one you can stay all year round if you want to. If you want to get an Airbnb manager, you can, or if you want to put it into the hotel pool, you can. And it's managed by Marriott. So it really is the most flexible living on the beach. There's also resident parking, laundry in the unit, which is a rare find in some of these buildings on the beach, and 2 private balconies, meaning if you stand out on the balcony, you can't see the other one from your unit. It's total privacy.
I'm going to take a guess. 1.2?
Yeah, on the money.
What? Come on.
Yeah.
Oh,
2 pools, resort gym, resort amenities, concierge, all the works. True resort living here in Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Cool. That's
nice.
so
Nice.
cool.
Nice.
Andre, now it's.
I was looking at the 1 bedrooms as well too with the clients. So, but that's
This one's a really good price for this kind of a view. You can get a 2 bedroom without an ocean view in this building for around the same price.
It's pretty awesome.
Andre, right now is the time of the judgment.
I don't know.
It's up to you.
I was going to give it to Bridget until I guessed her list price.
not the price. It's a real selection. You want to get out, Andre? Point it out. Who do you prefer as a? Applause.
He's my favorite
He's
now.
always a sucker for the ladies. You
know, guys, we have to always give our guests for sure. But this was an amazing presentation. Let me tell you this.
Yeah.
Both of you. I don't know if both of you.
I threw myself in the compliment.
You're doing a self-compliment to yourself, right?
2 great listings. Two
fabulous listings.
Yes,
2 fabulous listings and a great presentation.
Both with ocean and intracoastal views, and they're really close by to each other.
Yeah.
No, that was a really, really good presentation. You did try a little bit back in your home, right? You tested out a little bit. You rehearsed a little bit before you come here.
Not a bit.
Oh yeah.
I was like, when you turned on the video, I was like,
you were natural.
Dang, I forgot this was going to be a segment.
That's cool, guys. So again, thank you very much, and it's the end of our show. So Bridget, last words in how we can find you.
You can find me on all social media platforms at Bridget Realty. You can go to bridgetrealty.com or martyrgroup.com. You can also call me at 631-983-9757. I always pick up, and if I don't pick up, it's because I'm with another customer.
Boom. Bridget, we thank you so much for coming on the Real Stuff Show here. And let me ask you a question to our audiences out there. Who's somebody that you might recommend or give a shout out to somebody that you think we should bring on the show?
I think my colleague Mo Acosta is one of the coolest people I know. He does a lot of commercial, and he also works for Handcrafted Hospitality, which is one of the biggest major players in the food industry in Fort Lauderdale right now.
All right, Mo. Shout out to Mo.
Yeah, it's going to be great to have someone with a commercial perspective into real estate, right?
That would be nice.
We never have anyone like
we haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
So Mo, please, you're invited. Okay.
This is our plea.
So Jay, your last words in how to find you, my man.
Man, guys, you can always find me at Ask Jay Granieri on Instagram or here on every Thursday going forward for the Real Stuff Show as my partner in crime, sidekick, not psychic. And any questions you got about real estate or about the industry, hit me up. Love to tell you.
That's great, guys. And I'm Augusto Alagia. Thank you very much for being in the show. The captain. I see you soon. Amazing to have you, Bridget, here. Thank you very much. Great stories.
Thanks for having me.
And I would love to have you as a co-host, as a panelist in the future.
You don't have to twist my arm to ask me. I'd be happy to.
Great job, Bridget.
Okay, guys. So this is the Real Stuff Show. Thank you very much and see you soon.